Welcome, everyone. I'm Sally Spencer Thomas, co-chair of the Workplace Suicide Prevention and Postvention Committee. Today's presentation is going to be on the construction industry approach to implementing the national guidelines for workplace suicide prevention. Our speaker today is Stephen Frost. He is a certified construction safety professional who's very active within the American Society of Safety Professionals. He's received the President's Award, he's received the Safety Professional of the Year Award, and he's the current chapter president. The National Guidelines for Workplace Suicide Prevention is a collaborative partnership between the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and United Suicide Survivors International. It is built upon 8 guiding principles and 9 practices, all designed to make suicide prevention a health and safety priority in your workplace, in your union, or in your professional association. And now I'll turn it over to Steve.
Thank you, Sally. Steve Frost with Howard S. Wright, Balfour Beatty Company. We're going to talk today about some goals for the construction industry and some approaches that we have taken and that I have been a part of that are effective in reaching the multifaceted groups that make up our industry. So we're going to discuss the construction industry culture. We're going to explain their approach. And we're also going to address the tough questions. The main question is, what strategy works to connect to the construction industry? How do we make that connection? How do we roll out a suicide prevention initiative in our industry and make a connection that gets buy-in? I want to tell the story about what we've done so far and kind of how things evolve. And it is about connection and it is about community. And I can tell you that I may have done a lot, but there's a lot of people behind me that have helped make me successful. And without them, I wouldn't have been successful at all. It is about including upper management, getting their buy-in, and also leaning on resources and friends to help formulate strategies and roll out initiatives. Without that, it doesn't really work. So Howard S. Wright, Balfour Beatty, Howard S. Wright has a pilot program. It's called Need to Talk to Me. And a couple years ago, we had a difficult conversation with somebody, and I was searching for a program, and I, reached out to our company, and they said that in Seattle they had a Need to Talk to Me program, and I kind of took that and ran with it. And that initiative, it asks us to start the conversation and ask the question and see if people need resources. So with that, starting the conversation, we identify the problems in the construction, we identify some of the stigma that's out there, and we make sure that people understand that they're not alone. And with that, I was able to share a module called the We Are Here For You program, which is basically, it's parallel to that program, where it is a way that companies that do not have programs, that do not have initiatives, it gives them a starting block, a template to formulate different strategies for rolling out a suicide prevention initiative and mental well-being initiative as well. So I presented this throughout the industry. I've shared it time and time again. And, between that word of mouth and the connections, that's how I got here. That's how I became a keynote speaker and helped people really know that, I understand the pressures of the construction industry. I understand the things that happen in the field that cause stress and the things that we deal with. And we'll talk about those a little bit. But I also understand that people may not have resources. They may not understand that. So we presented this, we gave this out as a template, and it really was well received. And the more we talked about the conversations and having these conversations and leveraging resources, the more people stayed back, and the more people after site meetings or after safety committee meetings, the more people actually reached out and said, hey, look, I can use those resources, or I am in crisis. Can we talk about this? And it may be calling that national crisis line with somebody, or having them reach out to the local agency that answers these calls for resources. But the more we talked about it, the more response we saw. So that evolved into me including these mental health toolbox stickers. Safe Build Alliance had a safety week in 2018, and they rolled this program out there through a grant. And I thought it was wonderful. It was bringing attention to the fact that our industry is up there, the number one and number two spots for the industries with the highest risk of suicide, construction and extraction. And we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But as far as rolling out a program, these stickers that need to talk to me and that we are here for you, they are visual indicators that someone has gone through training that can have a conversation with somebody in crisis, doesn't qualify them as a counselor, and they can get that person the resources. So during orientations, we say, hey, if you see the sticker, you can tap that person on the shoulder and they can get you to resources. We also give this sticker out, the mental health toolbox. So everybody that comes through orientation has a resource leaving the orientation. So they have my phone number, they have the National Crisis Line number as well with a text option. And that leads me to the QPR Institute, which I was comfortable having the conversation and starting the conversation, but I also wanted to have an evidence-based conversation. I worked with the QPR Institute to develop a module specific to our construction industry that is now available to all their trainers, and they can use that module to gain common ground and to talk about the unique risk factors in construction with those with our industry. So when they do the QPR training, this also I made into a sticker that people can wear on their hard hats to say, hey, look, I'm training QPR. And then it also starts the conversation about, hey, what is QPR? What does that stand for? And it also has led me to talking about community and reaching out to people. We started a task force in Oregon. It was the Construction Suicide Prevention Task Force. Now it's known as the Construction Suicide Prevention Partnership. And it really is a great organization that really unifies the construction industry in a way it's never has before, with other general contractors, vendors, owners, unions, non-union labor organizations. They are all present. They all have a voice, and we are working together to get resources to people. I also developed with the American Heart Association. They have an organization called Hard Hats with Heart, and they helped develop this construction mental well-being and suicide prevention module, which talks about the proactive things that we can do with hydration and sleep, nutrition, and exercise, and all the things that build up our mental well-being, as far as saying, hey, we understand there's a time when those protective factors fade and we need professional help. So here's some things we can do on the front end. If that doesn't work and you start to feel depressed or have thoughts of suicide or need some resources, there's that professional services that you can reach out to. And we've got great responses from all these programs. And the more we talk about these programs, the more we bring them up at our safety moments and at our toolbox talks, the more people respond and they're aware of those resources. So implementation of the national guidelines, we do, and you can see this is intertwined with the 9 practices, upper management support and empowerment. It all starts with our leadership. Getting their buy-in empowers us. If they're saying that we can have these conversations, then we have the conversations, we can create programs, and we can get people to resources. This helps start the conversations that break the stigma, so we can actually start talking about this stuff regularly as part of our safety culture. Speaking of that culture, creating a culture of care and concern by establishing a connection and resource availability during onboarding, like I mentioned, during orientations or even new hire packets, letting them know that, hey, this is our program. We understand there's physical safety issues, but we also address mental health, mental well-being, and suicide prevention as part of that culture. And we do integrate self-care. We encourage people to take care of themselves, mental well-being and suicide prevention. We want to integrate that into the existing safety culture. Hey, I have a concern about a fall protection issue. I have a concern about someone who seems depressed or lethargic. Do we have resources that can address those? So we address it as another safety concern. We also help start these conversations, and we've seen very good feedback from our toolbox talks, a National Safety Week focus on connected, supported, safe. That was part of our resources that promote physical health and mental well-being, and also resiliency, talking about the protective factors and how we can bounce back, letting our industry know that they're not alone. There's resources on site and people who are gatekeepers when the protective factors run thin. Also, you have to be sincere. We need to make this connection through sincerity and developing a diverse team. So the question persists. How do we take theory and concepts and make the connection to the field and the staff? There are many voices out there that are waiting to be heard. There are many people out there that won't let people in to help. Sometimes silence and pride is all we see, no matter what we say. So what is the answer to this problem? I feel that it is inclusion, right? The answer is inclusion, to include everyone in the training that will identify the warning signs, provide resources that can provide the professional help. We cannot address the construction industry risk factors without a diverse team that is representative of our industry. Risk factors from the general population cross over into construction. So, however, our industry does have their own set of risk factors that are commonly discussed. Tough person culture, stigma about talking about suicide and mental health, layoffs, tight schedules, drug and alcohol misuse, especially when we're talking about opioid addiction, chronic pain, and lack of use of behavioral health care. We also need to provide resources that are effective for the multifaceted problems that one or many may be facing. Sometimes there is not just one layer, there are several layers that have to be addressed. Most of all, approach the silence. It is also asking for help. Convey resources with the understanding that people may be shaking their head no, but their heart is saying yes, that they need help. Make the resource a natural, planned response to the crisis. Some actions and steps and resources I have listed here: Construction Working Minds, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, the Construction Industry Alliance for Suicide Prevention, also American Heart Association, Hard Hats with Heart, a great amount of toolbox talks there, and of course the Construction Suicide Prevention Partnership, which is local here in Portland. It's a great framework for how to reach the industry.
Yes, and an award-winning organization in our inaugural Construction Working Minds Summit. Thank you so much, Steve, for your leadership, for your passion, for your ability to organize all of this work. It's truly a gift to the industry. For those of you who are interested in taking a next step, we encourage you to take the pledge to make suicide prevention a health and safety priority in your company, in your union, in your local chapter of your national affiliation. Take the pledge and take some steps. And as you do so, you can earn badges along the way. Thank you so much.